Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of TV is Our Real Mom. I'm Dave.
I'm Catie.
And today we are going to talk about the season premiere of Season 6 of The Walking Dead, entitled First Time Again. And what is the title? Where does the title come from again, Catie? Do you remember?
Yeah, Rick and Morgan were talking when they were in the woods early in the episode, and he said something along the lines of, "It's good to get to know you for the first time again." So, like, they've only spent like not that much time together, but we feel like they should know each other, but they really don't know each other. So,
right, yeah,
that's kind of what the whole episode is about.
Yeah, they only spent like a couple hours together or a day together or something like that?
Well, in the very first episode, they spent a whole day together, maybe more. It's been a while since I've watched the pilot, but they spent some decent time together in that first episode. In Season 3 episode called Clear, it was really just a day they spent together, and it was enough for Rick to just kind of figure out that he's lost his mind since the last time he saw him. But now he's kind of like this Zen badass staff-wielding dude who's kind of come to terms and dialed down the crazy quite a bit, it looks like.
Yeah, he's almost like, next to Rick, he's looking quite a bit more sane, actually, to me.
Yeah, I mean, Rick knows how to execute a plan, but it does seem like there's a few, things missing from Rick.
Does he know how to execute a plan? Does he?
Well, I think we'll get to it, but I think it was executed pretty well. It just something went awry, and we'll get there. We'll get there. But it looked like it was.
Why didn't I don't know. I don't know if he knows how to execute a plan, because maybe it was a really bad idea to begin with. If something like this could happen, like, it's like, why would you even pull them all out that close? Like, if something like that could happen.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point, because this, the amount of walkers
they would have come one at a time if you would have just left them out there.
The amount of walkers they've dealt with in the past are nowhere near this massive sea of walkers that you see right in the first scene of the episode.
Yeah.
So, considering the plan itself, that plan was executed well, but should the plan have ever been undertaken, that's something we can talk about. And I think one of the reasons the character of Carter, was so against this plan, because maybe it was ridiculous and foolish.
I mean, you had to realize something like this could happen. So, I mean,
yeah,
that's the part.
If one little thing goes awry that you can control, they didn't account for the uncontrollable circumstances. And that's something you really need to take into account when doing a plan like this.
Exactly.
So,
so what did you think of the episode overall? Did you like it?
I did like it. I'm going to be honest with you and tell you that it took me a while to get used to their new narrative device with the flashbacks. It took a while for that to start gelling, because it was, for the first few scenes, I thought it was really jarring.
Mm-hmm.
The very first scene, you have no idea what's going on. You see this massive sea of walkers. You have no idea where they are and who some of these people are, which is kind of an interesting approach to an episode. Lost used to do that a lot. Start at the end and then show you how they got there. Yeah. But it took me a good 10-15 minutes before I really felt that it was flowing. But once it started flowing, I thought it was a pretty good episode.
Yeah, once they started kind of connecting the pieces together, like showing how, we just saw that in the present and it connects to this thing in the past. Once they started doing more of that, it kind of made sense that they were doing things that way. And it was kind of cool that they used the grayscale or black and white video to kind of show that flashback kind of stuff.
Right.
So yeah, that was kind of
also cool because the comics are in black and white. So in a way, it's like kind of paying homage to the comics and the black and whiteness.
Are all the comics in black and white, or is it just, is it just like the early ones? All of them are?
Well, I guess I don't know. I've only read the early ones, so I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe they've gone to color, but I think originally they were in black and white, but I honestly don't know.
Yeah. Post in the comments below if they do color comics.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that opening scene was pretty crazy. I mean, that's a pretty awesome way to kick off the season, I thought. The semis and the hordes of zombies.
Yeah. And it throws you right into this question, I guess, because, the last season ended with Rick, shooting someone in the face. And granted, that person was a problem, but, I found it surprising. They went right into the beginning, showing Rick being the leader again, and I was surprised that everybody was so willing to just listen to what Rick has to say. So the episode was nice because it showed that not everybody really wanted to listen to what Rick had to say, but most of them realized that despite his rough exterior and his kind of psycho state of mind, he really knew his stuff when it came to keeping his people safe. So
yeah, but there is a cost to that. As you kind of see, I think it really came forward at the end of the episode with the girl. What's the woman's name that he's been kind of like romantically kind of crushing on again? Like, what's her name?
Boring blonde girl who hopefully gets eaten by a zombie soon.
Yeah, that's her name.
Yeah.
She's like kind of scared of him. I mean, like, it seems that way at the end of the episode. It's like she's gonna learn how to use a gun from someone else because maybe she needs to use it against Rick, possibly. Like, I don't know.
Well, I just think
seems like she's scared.
She doesn't want to be associated with Rick. And here's like, the scene where Ron, her name is Jessie, her son's name is Ron, and he follows Morgan and Rick out when they're going to bury his father, Pete.
Yes. Yeah.
And eventually Rick starts lecturing Ron, and I got very angry for this kid because I don't care how horrible my dad was. You shot him in the face. You don't get to tell me how to do anything, man. So I thought Rick was majorly overstepping his bounds there. And the same thing when he went to Jessie and said, "Look, I'll teach you how to use a gun." I'd be like, dude, you need to back off. I will learn how to shoot a gun, but not from you. So I was totally on her side.
Yeah, and didn't she call Rick out on that? Isn't she like, you don't talk to Ron like that?
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure she called him out on it. So
he needed to hear it.
Yeah. So hopefully that vindicated you in the way you felt that she called him out on it.
It does not matter what he did, what this man did in the past. It was her husband. It was, the kid's father, and Rick just shot him in the face. So it's messed up for him to think he has any say.
Shot him right in the face.
Right in the face.
Right in the face. Yeah, there wasn't much little Rick in this episode. There wasn't much Carl in this episode. Is that Carl? Is that a bad thing?
No, I think they're realizing that Carl's a bad actor, and maybe they should, which is unfortunate because I think the character of Carl. I don't know. He's not great.
Yeah.
Is he bad? I don't know.
I don't know. How old is he now? In real life. 15?
Like a tween?
So he should be
early teen.
He should be going Leo DiCaprio style. Like he's getting to his teens. He should be coming around as an actor. But
well, not every teenager turns into Leonardo DiCaprio, man.
Yeah, I know. But if he was going to bloom into a good actor, he should be doing it at this point, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Okay.
I hope he's still I hope he is and can become a better actor, because I think the character of Carl is supposed to be like, down the road, like one of the final. That's just theories I've heard, that he's going to be one of the last men standing and it's going to be a super badass. But I don't see the actor they have playing him pulling that off. So.
Yeah. So should we do an MVP of each episode?
We can, but it's a little early for that.
Yeah, I know. I'm just thinking.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do an MVP for sure.
Okay, we'll do an MVP.
I gotta think. Are you gonna pick Carl?
No, no way. That would be insane. That would just be crazy. I'm not that crazy. All right.
Pretty off the wall there, man.
Yeah. So there wasn't much Carl. There was a lot of Rick and Morgan stuff, I guess, in this episode.
Yeah, I think their relationship was the centerpiece of the show because they were like the title is after their relationship. They were just getting to know each other again, and by the end, I think Morgan wants to believe that Rick is still the good guy that he met on Rick's first day in the zombie apocalypse. Mm-hmm. But I think he sees very alarming evidence against that. But then at the end, I don't know how he feels at the end. How do you think? Do you think Morgan thinks Rick is still good, or does Morgan think he's too bad, gone too far?
I don't know. I kind of get this like impression, like they're trying to steer towards the idea that Morgan is a different kind of leader. Like there's Rick, the Rick kind of leader, and you can remind me, have they done something like this before already? Like where there's Rick and then there's another. You can remind me, like
the whole Rick versus Shane thing is, Shane was willing to make the hard decisions. Granted, Shane was always tainted by his weird obsession with Lori. Had Lori not been around, Shane might have been a better leader than Rick. But the weird thing is now Rick is basically Shane.
I was just gonna say Rick is the one who's making the hard decisions. It seems like at the expense of whatever morality character he was before.
Yeah, but he's keeping a lot more of his people safe, it would seem. So I don't know. It's just he's definitely lost some of that innocent goodness that he had in the beginning, and I think Morgan maybe really desperately wants him to hang on to that, but it might already be gone. So we'll see how that plays out the rest of the season. I think that Morgan did not like the way Rick handled the Carter situation. Should we address Carter? Should we talk about Carter?
What's the name of that actor again?
Ethan Embry. I was so excited when I heard that he was going to be on the show. I was, I've been a fan of his ever since That Thing You Do. He was the bass player in that
TV player. TV
player. Yeah, TV player.
Yeah.
And of course, Can't Hardly Wait. He was in that. So
yeah. He's a good actor. He's a good actor.
Yeah, he really is. And I remember seeing pictures of him on the set, and I was like, oh yay, he's going to be on the show this year. And wow, he didn't even survive one episode. So
no, yeah, and I was really surprised by that. Like I was like, what already? Like that was they got me good with that one. I thought for sure he'd be around.
It was perfect because it showed how. It looked like by the end, this character of Carter was willing to be more like Rick and learn how to harden himself and become, a warrior like the rest of Rick's people are. But as soon as a zombie popped out, he screamed bloody murder like a girl, and that thing ate his face off.
Yeah.
And then he just wouldn't stop screaming, and so Rick had to end him. But I think that which was the only thing he could do.
Yeah, his death the death of his character kind of demonstrated something important. I think that not everyone has it in him. He didn't have it in him. And that's what Rick has realized out in the zombie apocalypse, that he's really trying to get through to these people. Is like, you guys don't know what it's like, and some of you probably don't have it in you, and I think that's what he kind of demonstrated. Don't you think?
But at the same time, I can't help but think, maybe Rick loves this what he's become a little too much, and how he feels when he's fighting zombies. Do you think that played some part in him, unleashing that massive herd of walkers, was to just maybe feel more like himself instead of, feeling safe and sound and stuff? Like it was almost like he was seeking a battle of some kind.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I think there is something to what you're saying there, that he's basically gone out looking for trouble, basically, because he needs it. you know?
Mm-hmm.
So.
And he wants everyone to be armed within the city. And while that's a good idea, I think, you know, they will, sorry, do you have a...
No, my phone was talking at me. I didn't mean to do that. It did the voice.
That's okay.
Voice activation thing for some reason. Anyways, go on.
Well, I was just gonna say, if the people within the city become armed and they all become like Rick and his people, you know, then you go back to the whole human problem.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, are you still there? Catie? I think we lost Catie.
No, she's here.
Oh, there she is. Okay. Hey, Catie.
Hey.
Lost you there for a second.
I apologize.
That's okay. Why don't we move on, talk about Eugene for a bit?
Okay. Fine by me.
What was the first scene we saw him when he walked in? Is it Tara? Is that her name?
Tara, yeah.
Tara was waking up. She's been unconscious from that, what happened again?
The incident with Noah. When Noah got killed.
Right, yeah.
Just smushed to death. But
got his face ripped apart.
Oh, that was terrible. That was one of the worst things I've ever seen.
That was awful.
But anyway, he felt very I think he and Tara have a bond, and he felt very bad about what happened to her, so he's very simple, and he was very relieved when she was okay. So that made him feel good. And then the thing with him at the gate, which I thought was really funny.
Oh yeah, he had like two hilarious moments in a row there. Like,
yeah,
the first one was, didn't he say he called Deanna a horse?
Oh yeah,
he's like
yeah.
He's like straight from the horse's mouth, or straight from Deanna's mouth. You know, like the horse.
Yeah, and then he, in his Eugene way, explained to the people who showed up at the gate, who'd missed all the action, that their times in Alexandria have not yet overlapped, and so he wasn't sure if he should let them in or not, but he did, and they were okay. I really like that Heath character. He's a new character.
Yeah, I like Heath for sure. Yeah. Yeah,
I like him, and he's got good hair too, just like Eugene. So.
Yeah, Eugene was like, I respect the hair game or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Respect game, and Eugene knows that.
Yeah. Eugene's got a wicked mullet, but dreads are cool too. So
dread ponytail with curly ends. I mean, his hair is epic.
Yeah, Heath's a cool character. I hope they keep him around for a couple episodes at least, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, you can't be too sure. They have an unsettling tendency to kill off all their African American characters. So hopefully that trend is bucked with Heath. So
yeah, let's keep one. Let's keep one of those around. I mean, come on, man. Why are they?
Yeah,
why are they doing that?
I think it's unintentional. I think I read an article that said they just happened to cast African American actors in those roles that were always destined to be killed. So maybe it is. But as soon as Noah died, that was the third one last season, I think, and I was just thinking, this is becoming a bit concerning. So
yeah. Well,
so I hope they stop that.
Heath will stick around. I know Heath's gonna stick around.
I think pretty cool.
I think we should talk about Nicholas a little bit. His character arc's becoming a little more interesting. With basically, he was the one that was with Glenn when Noah got ripped apart, right? Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he played a part in. You remember this stuff better than I do. Can you explain that?
Well, I don't really remember a lot of details. I just remember that they wanted to try and save Noah, and the dude just propped open the door so that the zombies could get through and
to save himself. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, to save himself, and so
he wanted to save his own ass. Yeah.
And then he lured Glenn out into the woods and tried to kill him. And now all of a sudden he and Glenn are besties, which I find kind of quick and weird. But I suppose in the zombie apocalypse, relationships are different, and they can mend more quickly if you're willing to forgive someone when there's life and death on the line. So we'll see. I don't know. That's kind of a boring storyline to me. Usually anything involving Glenn is boring to me.
Yeah. I think it's kind of cool because Nicholas, it seems like he's still trying to be he's trying to be more helpful at this point, and he's trying to make amends with Glenn, sort of. I guess we'll see though if that's like, if they're going to have him become like, you know, that kind of changed character, or if he's going to, you know, it somewhere down the line you're going to see the bad Nicholas come out again.
That seems to be the Walking Dead way. I mean, you don't ever come away from a Walking Dead episode feeling hopeful. If there's a chance to like make you feel down about humanity and down about the world, I feel like that's the route they're going to go. So I wouldn't be surprised if Nicholas goes bad again.
That's probably what they're setting Nicholas up for then, I'm guessing. So yeah,
probably.
That's a good prediction, I would say. But I did think that Glenn, Nicholas, and Heath were a pretty badass team, though. They were they were taking zombies out.
And that's the nice thing about Walking Dead is you lose so many characters, but you can, I mean, it seems they're easily replaceable. Like all of a sudden you're rooting for this trio of this character you've known since episode 1, one character you literally just met, and one character that last season was hated and a bad guy. So, but those three can all of a sudden come together and work together, and you root for them. So, you know, it worked, and I'm excited to see where those relationships go.
Yeah.
Probably somewhere tragic and depressing, but you know, that's The Walking Dead.
So there was this part when they're all at that meeting kind of discussing this like plan to draw out the herd and destroy the herd or whatever they're going to do. And there's a part where Nicholas like volunteers to help, and Glenn looks at him and he shakes his head. He's like, "No. What was going on?"
Your Glenn impression?
Yeah, it's not very good.
No.
I know, but no. But yeah, what was going on? Why was he like, "No, don't volunteer"? What's going on with that?
You know, I'm not 100% sure. I think obviously Glenn is wary of Nicholas's motivations, maybe, and wary of what he'll do because in the past when he's been out on a run or trying to work with the team, he's messed up. So I don't know.
I think you pretty much nailed it. In like when you said that, I pretty much agree with that. That in the past he's shown himself in those heated situations to kind of mess things up pretty bad, and Glenn's like, "Uh-oh, I can see where this is going." So yeah, I think that's probably why he was shaking his head.
Yeah, but I thought it was funny how Gabriel volunteered and Rick just goes no, and then
that was hilarious. That was hilarious.
It was, but I felt like
he's like, "I'd like to help." No. So.
But you know, he had it coming. I guess he ratted Rick and his people out to Deanna last season, and Rick has no time for the weak, those who refuse to defend themselves and become like him, which is kind of, I don't know, short-sighted of him, I think. But
yeah, that's really why he didn't like Carter, because Carter is pretty much a weakling. I mean, he just didn't have that killer instinct in him. So
yeah, he was discussing killing Rick, which Eugene overheard. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, Eugene.
So. Speaking of weak, I mean, he's hilarious, but the man he's got some manning up to do.
Yeah, he's lucky he's made it this far. That's for sure.
Yeah. But he knows that too.
Someone who's not so weak is Carol. Carol is pretty funny. But she's
pretending to be.
Yeah, no, that's what I was gonna say. Is she's watching her pretend to be like weak was really funny in this episode. Like when she's like, "This is terrifying."
You can just see like the glee underneath.
Yeah, this is terrifying. We shouldn't do this. But yeah, she's just setting. Well, no, actually, yeah, she was like, "This is terrifying. We should do this," because she was basically playing up she's supporting Rick's plan, basically, right?
Yeah.
And trying to get everyone else to join in.
Yeah. But I think Morgan pretty clearly sees through it. Yeah. And I don't know, I felt that maybe something will develop between Morgan and Carol. Is that just me? Did anyone else see that?
It was, if that's what they were going for, I mean, it was pretty obvious. But I mean, it's one or the other. They're going that way, or it was just like let's throw them off. Let's make them think there's a romance here. Mm-hmm. I would put my money on, it's definitely, there's like a spark there of some kind.
Yeah, and he sees, I mean, he's known her for all of, half a day, and he can already tell that she's faking this whole nice lady persona. Yeah. He can see the badass underneath.
Yeah, I really like that.
I miss the badass. I want the badass to come out again soon. I don't like homemaker Carol.
Yeah, and it is, we know it's all a game, and we can see that.
Yeah.
They're showing us it's all front, but it's still not as fun to watch as
But I did enjoy last season. I enjoyed when she was playing that role, but she was talking to the kid, Jesse's younger son, and just the way she was talking to him and saying that basically he's gonna die if he doesn't do what she says, was awesome. And I hope we get to see that terrifying version of Carol once again, because that was a pretty cool.
We will. We'll see that soon, I'm sure.
I look forward to it.
Yeah. So with this plan, they need to have these walls built, and it turns out that Carter, it has wall construction history with Reg or whatever. So so they put him in charge of the walls, and I remember thinking it was really weird that Rick would put the guy he doesn't trust at all in charge of the walls that keep the walkers out. Didn't you think that was kind of weird? That he picked him to do that? All of a sudden he trusts him to make the walls?
Well, thinking back on it, I guess it was a little weird, but I think Carter would not weaken the walls because he doesn't want the walkers to come in. I mean, he's terrified of it. He wants Rick. He just wants Rick out of the picture so they can go back to their happy little life where they were all safe inside Alexandria and they weren't facing what's actually out there. That's all I think it was. But now when he agreed to the plan, he wanted to make those walls as strong as possible.
Yeah, what's funny is right as I was sort of thinking oh, they don't seem to trust this guy and they're letting him build the walls. That's kind of weird. And then about 2 minutes later, he's getting eaten by a zombie. So it none of it mattered anyways, what I was thinking. So yeah. Yeah, one thing I was wondering about was what was the end plan for the horde of zombies? Where after the finish line when they went past the finish line or whatever, what was going to happen? What were they going to do to all of them? Did they ever say?
I don't know. They don't say. I thought they just wanted to lead them away because they couldn't kill that many walkers. I thought they just wanted to get them far enough away and lead them away and have strong enough walls that they would never be able to get into Alexandria. But I don't know. It seems kind of foolish, but I don't know.
No, that makes sense. That's what I was wondering. That could be all it is. Yeah, is that they're oh, we'll just get them, because I think he said something about 20 miles that way or something. So yeah, let's just get them 20 miles away and that'll be good enough. Maybe that's all it was. I had this idea in my head of them walking off a cliff into spinning blades or something like that, I thought there would be something cool that.
That'd be nice. They could lead him to a factory or something, but none of the wheels would still be turning. It could be a buffalo jump. Do you know what a buffalo jump is? Where you run a herd of buffalo off a cliff? They could do that with all the zombies.
That's exactly. I was thinking maybe they're going to do something like that. And I was kind of excited. I was thinking the climax of this episode would be that you'd get to see all these zombies get buffalo jumped or whatever. So But
yeah, well, it looks like that's not going to happen. So
yeah, but the way the episode ended is awesome because all that means is you're going to get more action, which is really makes the show.
You're going to get dead people. You're going to get dead people, which is also what makes the show.
Dead characters, yes.
Yeah. But before we get to the very end of the episode, we haven't yet mentioned Daryl Dixon, and that's wrong.
Well, yeah, we have to mention him, but I mean,
he didn't do much this episode.
There wasn't much to talk about. He was riding his motorcycle. He shot a couple of zombies with his crossbow. It's just the usual par for the course with Daryl Dixon. I mean,
but do you feel that they are building up to some type of conflict with Daryl and Rick? Because Daryl seems to think they need to still go out and recruit people, whereas Rick seems to think they're good.
Okay. Yeah, that was the one good Daryl moment, I guess, that's worth mentioning, is that he thought the recruiting idea, he was excited about the recruiting idea, it seems like. He wanted to do that. And Rick kind of, I don't think we ever saw this, but we're supposed to take from what he said that Rick, like, stamped it out. He's like, no, we're not doing that. So yeah, I think that is. Go ahead.
Sorry, if they had stopped recruiting a month earlier, Rick and his people never would have been brought there. So, like, you never know what good's going to come from, or bad's going to come from recruiting people. So I think it's kind of, once again, short-sighted of Rick to just say no without even thinking about what it has done for the community in the past.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel like Rick is kind of an asshat. Like,
yeah, he's, I like this take no prisoners Rick and how he's not such a wishy-washy, emotional farmer Rick anymore. But I also think, there's got to be room for discussion with some things, especially someone like Daryl, who is in every way you're equal. He just doesn't like making decisions, so he doesn't. But it seems like this is something he kind of is pushing for, but he still says to Rick, it's your decision in the end. So
yeah, so I totally agree. Rick is he should be more democratic, I guess.
I don't know. We've seen that doesn't really work either. I don't know. It's hard to tell where the right type of leadership is, what it is.
Yeah, I suppose there really isn't a right type of leadership in this zombie apocalypse. So
no, because Rick's pretty much tried them all, and we've had problems with a lot of them, most of them. So
yeah, true story.
True.
So yeah, anything else you want to talk about before we wrap this up?
No, I think we could talk forever about it, but I think we hit all the main points. Yeah.
All right. So for MVP, do you want to each pick one, or should we try to come to a consensus on one?
You can pick one. I'll see if I agree or maybe not agree.
Well, I was gonna pick Eugene as my MVP.
That's a good MVP. I mean, he did kind of give away he was eavesdropping, which was really good for Eugene, and it could have been cool. He could have gone and told Rick, but he ended up coming in the door anyway, so it didn't matter. So yeah, Eugene's a good one.
And there was one other one I had in mind, but let's see what you pick. Or do you want to pick a different one, or?
I think I'm just gonna pick Morgan, just because I'm happy to see him back on just in a full episode and not just a guest star. And he seems to really have his head on straight. He seems to be thinking clearly and seeing the flaws in Rick's leadership skills, which might lead to conflict down the road. But it's a nice presence to have. It's a new dynamic, and I like it. So Morgan.
That's exactly who I was thinking. So perfect.
Okay, good.
Yeah. All right. So I think that's about it for this episode of TV is Our Real Mom. You want to try to do this next week, Catie?
Yeah, we can do it next week too.
Cool. Sounds good. We'll see you guys next week when we discuss episode 2. It is airing next week, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. We'll do this again next week then. Thanks for tuning in.
Okay, sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.